Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice for radio. So today, we're going to be looking at Cobalion GX. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, today we have started properly showing off Dark Order. It has been officially revealed over in Japan now. We've already looked at a couple of good lightning Pokemon. Now it is time to look at a really good metal Pokemon. It's Cobalion GX. Now, first off the bat, where's my Terrakion GX? Terrakion is clearly the best of this trio. That upsets me. Now that I've got that out the way, let's have a quick talk about Cobalion GX. Now, he's got 170 HP, which is on the lower end of GX's. It's down there with Tapu Lele. It's not ideal, but I think it's still decent. It's just not particularly great. The good news is you're weak to fire. Now, Makago and Blacephalon are both looking like they're going to be good when Lost Thunder drops, but both of those are big GXs that hit for big damage. They're going to one-hit KO you anyway, so the weakness is kind of irrelevant. They need like one fewer. I've done videos about both these decks. I'll pop them in the description. But essentially, it means I need to Lost Zone or discard one fewer energy. It doesn't really matter, ladies and gentlemen. I wouldn't worry about it. Resistance to Psychic is good because something like Garbodor is always going to be sticking around, and now they do 20 less damage, so in their face. And the retreat cost of 1 is nice because firstly it's low, and secondly a skateboard comes in, gives you free retreat, so that's pretty nice. As for being a metal Pokemon, you've got access to Metal Frying Pan, which takes away your weakness and says you take 30 less from attacks. So the low HP and the weakness I just mentioned can kind of both go away in one go. Although Metal Frying Pan does lose you access to Choice Band, so please do be aware of that. And it means you've got Mount Coronet to recover a little bit of energy. And it means in terms of energy acceleration, you've got your choice in standard at least between Solgaleo, Prism Star and Magnezone, both of which are decent options. So actually being metal's a good type. And another thing I love about metal Pokemon, Fairy's getting good. Gardevoir's always sticking around, Sylveon will remain post-rotation as a good disruption deck, and Alolan Ninetales GX, I did a video about this, I'll pop it in the description, is essentially shaking up the format in Japan. It's coming around and adding consistency to a whole bunch of decks. It's going to be everywhere. So being able to hit for metal weakness, i.e. weakness on fairy Pokemon, is going to get better and better and better as we go along. So the ability here, and I should mention our translations come from the lovely squeaksgwe.com, that website I keep mentioning that's lovely and sometimes hosts some of my videos run by really nice people that I get on with. Yeah, it's cool. Check it out. It's a good website. The ability here says that each of your Pokemon that has any metal energy attached to it cannot be affected by any special conditions and remove any special conditions affecting those Pokemon. This is a basic Pokemon. And now this basic Pokemon says that you can essentially always have immunity from special conditions for the game. It's ridiculous. You play a Nest Ball, and now all of a sudden your Pokemon are immune from special conditions. And if a special condition gets put on your Pokemon, whack a metal energy down, you'll be fine. Something like Shuckle GX is looking like it could be really nice when it comes out. And Shuckle's got an attack that does treble poison and a GX attack that automatically paralyzes. Well, if you're worried about Shuckle GX, play a Cobalion. Whack a metal energy on there. An ability like this is always, always, always better on a basic Pokemon. Because there's none of this evolving up malarkey, you just whack it on the bench and it's there. It reminds me very much of Magearna EX, which was obviously also a metal Pokemon, which prevented all effects of your opponent's attacks to any of your Pokemon that had any metal energy attached to them. Now, I know special conditions are not necessarily the same as effects of attacks, although if an attack gives a special condition, they are the same. But it's a similar kind of thing, and Magearna saw play. And you whacked it into metal decks, so that if you had one of these decks that tried to put on effects of attacks, you could just be like, no. No. That's what Cobalion does here. He sits on the bench just being like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And if you're ever worried about special conditions, Cobalion's got your back. I know we're not in a hugely special conditions heavy format at the moment, but It's just one of those, if you're ever worried, it doesn't have to be now, it can be in the future. If you ever find yourself worried by special conditions, Cobalion comes out and he's like, it's all right, boys, I got this. The other thing to bear in mind here is that when we say metal energy, we mean metal or any energy that counts as metal. So counter energy, just so long as it's attached to a non-EX, non-GX and you're behind on prizes, will count here. And rainbow energy will count here. And the unit energy that's got metal in, if you're wondering it's also got psychic and lightning, will count here. You would use that if you were playing a lightning or psychic deck and you didn't want to take the damage counter from rainbow energy. Or super boost energy, which remember, it's 4 of any energy when you've got 3 stage 2s in play and it's attached to one of them. But even if you've only got 1 stage 2 in play, this will still be any energy attached to it. In any deck playing any of these energy or basic metal, seems like a no-brainer. If you ever find yourself worried about special conditions, just play this and it will fix it nicely. Now the main attack here is fine, but it's not one that I'm loving all that much. 2 metal energy, 50 damage. If there's a stadium in play, you do 110. We're in a format at the moment where there is a stadium in play. We've got all these Prism Star stadiums like Thunder Mountain coming around, and it looks like we're going to end up with 1 for each type. So they're going to be in play. And then you've got Brooklet Hill being played for water or fighting decks. Shrine of Punishment seeing a huge amount of play. Maybe this will change in a year or 6 months or whatever, though I really don't think it will, but maybe. But we're in a format at the moment where stadiums are just in play. People are playing stadiums. Stadiums are seeing play. So you should just imagine this does 110 for 2 energy. And it's fine. I mean, look, if you're hitting for weakness, it's all right. You do get a 1-hit KO on Alolan Ninetales. Yay! You do get a 1-hit KO on Sylveon. Yay! And you're 10 damage away from getting a 1-hit KO on Gardevoir. Boo! But look, Choice Band is a thing. Play Choice Band. Now again, Choice Band does take away Metal Frying Pan. I'll leave that up to you. You could play Shrine of Punishment here, but obviously you're a GX, so it would put a damage counter on you as well. So something to bear in mind. If you're hitting for weakness, this is a fine attack. If you're not hitting for weakness, I'm not loving it. 110 won't even get that many non-GXs. It won't get Tapu Koko because they've got a resistance to you. And it's not going to get some of your bigger boys in the format. I mean, even something like a Moltres was got 120 HP. Won't get KO'd by this. I'm just not loving it. Against GXs, you're doing 140 with a Choice Band. That's not even enough to KO a Marshadow. And Marshadow's the one we pick on for having the lowest HP in the game in terms of GXs. No, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a good attack. I'm sorry about that. I wish it were a better attack. But it's not. And then you get to the GX attack. And here's the thing, right? Just ignore the main attack, because the ability's great and I love this GX attack. 1 colorless energy on a basic Pokemon. During your opponent's next turn, all of your opponent's Pokemon cannot attack, including any newly played Pokemon. So your opponent can't just retreat or play a Guzma to get out of this. They can't attack. There is no attacking. That's ridiculous. Most of these, there's like, oh, there's a way around it. Or you got something like a Alolan Golem GX that doesn't let them play any cards. But then it's just kind of like, well, it's a stage 2 and it's really expensive, so I guess that explains it. This is ridiculous. It basically buys you an extra turn, and it's 1 colorless energy on a basic Pokemon. So you can put this into any deck whatsoever and use it. I don't see many decks that wouldn't gain an advantage from this. I could see this being played in almost every deck, because why wouldn't you? Now, don't get me wrong, your opponent can still attach energy. Your opponent can still disrupt you by playing cards like Crushing Hammer. Your opponent can still evolve and all of that stuff. But what your opponent can't do is attack. And this is a game-sealing attack. Oh, we're in Top Cut. I'm turn 2 of the +3 turns. There's 3 turns in total after time is called to try and determine a winner. My opponent is down by a prize. If I use Cobalion's attack, I guarantee that they don't take a prize next turn, because they can't attack. I mean, yeah, maybe they're playing something like Decidueye, but let's just ignore that for the time being. That can take a prize using abilities. I guarantee I win the game. I guarantee I win the game. Ooh, time's just about to run out. So I'm just going to make sure my opponent can't attack. so they can't take their final prize. Hey, my opponent's got one card left in deck, but they're going to take their final prize next turn. Well, I'm going to attack with Cobalion, then they can't attack, which means they're going to deck out. Or even just, I'm playing a stage 2 deck. It's a little bit slow. I need a turn to set up. I need to make sure my Pokemon don't get KO'd. Use Cobalion's attack. The main attack here is fine in a metal deck if you're hitting for weakness. But if you're playing a metal deck, you're going to be hitting for weakness. It's alright, it's not great. The ability is nuts good if you're playing Metal Energy. Immunity from all special conditions is great, but it's actually the GX attack here that is the star of the show. And let me really stress this, right? Basic Pokemon, single energy. You can put it into any deck whatsoever. It is a one-card tech. One card in your deck, and you're buying yourself an extra turn. You guarantee that your opponent cannot attack this turn. It's crazy good. Like, so good. Yes, your opponent can do everything else, but they cannot attack this turn. They can't put down a new Pokemon. They can't retreat. They can't play a Guzma. No attacking. And that makes it a 5 WotC card. And if you're thinking, come on, WotC, 3 5 WotC cards in a row, are you just overly excited because the Transformers TCG comes out today? YouTube.com/WotC Plays. Are you just overly excited because it's your birthday tomorrow? No. Because all these cards are great. And we're talking about a basic Pokemon that for one colorless energy stops your opponent attacking. This will win games. It's a 5 WotC card. But hey, if you want to disagree with me, or even if you just want to agree, let's be friends. Let me know in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. Go nuts, but do please remember the rule. Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the WotC, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.